We're hanging with the Swifty.
The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Well, why is everyone talking about Taylor Swift, playing a concert in Vancouver when Thatcher Demko may play some games in Vancouver? Like, come on, what are we doing here?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into it, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks because it is your Canucks every damn day. Part of that Locked On Podcast Network. They're doing the most for sports fans across the world, baby. And for our show, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe, like this video on YouTube, and on the podcast side, oh baby, go follow us and leave a 5-star review, because we're not here without you, but we're also not here without the sponsors. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. The Canucks, there's some things happening right now. They're back in Vancouver. They're making roster moves. The main dude, Thatcher Demko, back at practice. But a big reason why the Canucks had a successful road trip, Kyle, 4-1-1, keeping that road magic alive, was the return of the alien, okay? What's been going right for Elias Pettersson, and what's to come for EP40? Because might I remind you, Kyle, let me remind you of a couple preseason predictions. I said PD was going to be in the Hart Trophy running. Tough start on that one. I also said Jake DeBrusk is going to lead the Canucks in goals. I'm still hopeful on both of my bold predictions. But I'll throw it to you, Kyle Bhawan, my co-host, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Again, like so many things are going on with this team. Apparently Demko looks good at practice today. There's only 2 goalies on the ice. And then we have to talk about this whole Pettersson thing, because I feel as if like him having 18 points in his last 12 games should not be like not talked about based on how much we talked about this guy being an absolute ass early on in the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy was going through it. The first 10, 11, 12, 13 games, he was so invisible, so quiet, so slow out there. And boom, bam, next thing you know, Miller's out and somebody had to step up. And let's be real. DeBrusk, congratulations. Pius Suter, congratulations. But Elias Pettersson, come on. He's intimidating right now against other teams. He's driving play slowly, not there at full speed yet. And then if you look at what he did against the Minnesota Wild, bro, how many shot attempts did this guy have? He was finally shooting the puck. He was letting it rip. He was trying to dictate the game on his own terms, skating a bit faster too through the neutral zone into the offensive zone. Saw strides. Probably one of his better offensive games of the year. Not his best defensive game. There was a couple mistakes, but hey, offensively speaking, he seemed to be attacking, and it's quite obvious that this guy has returned to Vancouver.
Yeah, and thank the Lord for that, man, because obviously signing the big contract and having the start he did, and I've said this before in every Dairies No, I think it was really the first 5 games where he struggled immensely on both sides of the puck. I think he's picked it up defensively since the first handful of games of the season, but obviously offensively, he was throwing pucks into skates, he was looking slow, and yeah, I don't know, man, people want to tie this to JT Miller. I don't want to do that because this guy was starting to hit his stride in late October, early November here. It's been about a month of EP40 being great again. And Kyle, how much do you credit the line mates in place for this? Because he was pretty much saddled with Jake DeBrusk to start the season where it didn't work out. Then Connor Garland's on that line. Then it goes back to DeBrusk. And now the Canucks are rolling out the line that I wanted to see in training camp. And that was DeBrusk, Besser, and Pettersson. But, how much of an impact have PD's line mates had on him? Or do you think it's mainly PD bringing up guys like Jake DeBrusk, who has, again, just been stellar the last little bit?
That's a good question. I feel like for the most part, his line mates and himself have been playing at a similar level. And I'll even say like they've been playing at a higher level, right? Like they're warming up. But again, I'm trying to be more specific on Pettersson here. And I'm just content with saying that he's been by far and away the best player in all 3 zones out of, the threesome that he's in, or wherever threesome he's in, especially Besser, right? Like he's playing a lot better than Besser. And again, I just want to give credit where credit is due. Like he's been doing his thing under adversity, and like again, no Miller. There's even more pressure on him. It's one thing to say that, oh yeah, okay, he was playing his best hockey or warming up just around the time that Miller left the team. Like he was doing his thing, but there he was faced with another predicament after just warming up, after climbing out of the gutter. And it's like, okay, now the team really needs me. And yeah, he's not at his best, but he's literally doing the most. 18 points in 12 games is not like, that's not soft. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, straight up. And I just feel as if whoever plays with them, it could be DeBrusk, it could be Sherwood, it could be like Mackey, who's back back up there, Besser, who knows? But at the end of the day, I feel like the play driving Pettersson is about to be seen here in December. Like, again, look at what he did against Minnesota. I don't know what the shot attempts were, but I think he had maybe 5 or 6 or 7. He was up there, and that's something he wasn't doing even the game before. We're seeing different sides of Pettersson, and it's, again, circling back to him being the alien this time around. And we can talk about DeBrusk having 11 goals and all this stuff, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just watching Pettersson specifically. And remember a couple weeks ago, Trevor, we got our ass kicked by the Oilers, and we were sitting there like, okay, this sucks. I'm hurt. I'm sad. Where's my mom? Where's my girl? I need a hug. But at the same time, we're like, yo, Pettersson played his best game of the year. We lost 7-3,
Yeah.
but Pettersson was there warming up. Like, individually speaking, you got to look at the progress of a team for sure, but you got to look at the progress of the player. And this team is going to go wherever Pettersson takes it, in my opinion, because we know what Hughes can do. We know what Miller can do. But what if Pettersson, again, this year can be a top 5 player, top 10 player, and he's warming up right now?
Yeah, he's more than warming up, and it's funny you keep talking about the 18 points in 12 games. That game started in Edmonton, right?
Yeah.
He had a goal and assist that night, and really he's just been picking it up since then. So in that 12-game stretch, starting with that bad loss to the Oilers, this guy has only had 2 games where he's been pointless. He's picked up points in 10 of the last 12 games. He's had 5 multi-point games. 4 of those multi-point games just came on the road trip. So in 4 of 6 games on the road here, Pettersson stepped the F up with multi-point efforts. Again, you're just liking, I like the decisiveness in his game right now. Just again, man, I told you what I say before. It's not, F the analytics, F the eye test. The guy lost his mojo, and now he's gotten it back, baby. And it's all good again in Vancouver.
Okay. You know what's crazy though, Trevor? I completely I didn't ignore your question about the line mates, but I did undermine it just a bit, considering the proof in the pudding, right? Look at who Pettersson's line mates were last year. Healthy scratch Kuzmenko, Sam Lafferty, Mikheyev, etc., etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? And now we're talking about Sherwood, DeBrusk. Now he's playing a little bit with Besser. Who knows if he's going to get... I didn't look at the practice lines. Like, maybe there's a small chance Besser's off that line. I haven't seen so much chemistry between them. Maybe Lecker Mackey's there. Who knows? But there has been more value around him. I gotta say that there's a lot of truth there, and maybe that's, again, making him more comfortable this time around in the season for him to, again, just slowly be himself. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see the Canucks move forward with this guy returning to form, because I feel like for a short amount of time, it's going to feel new again. And that's a blessing, considering we already have Quinn Hughes feeling new every game, even though, he's been here forever doing miraculous things. But again, if Pettersson can get back on that alien trip and just be so dynamic, it's going to put us in a spot where we can start thinking about the ceiling of this team and possibly being a contender for real. And again, a lot of it weighs on Elias Pettersson. And the fact, again, Trevor, talk about this, like, he did this without JT Miller. Like, a lot of pressure was on this guy to help this team win games, and it wasn't perfect. Again, not perfect. I know. Not Martin Necas level. I know. But he's done the work, and there's a lot of progress there. It's not 13 points in 12 games. Like, this guy is putting in the work right now, and I'm impressed.
Yeah, and again, I think it's you want that offensive ceiling, that offensive pop to come back, and it just seems like he's decisive with the puck again, whether it's in the neutral zone, whether it's in his own end. I can think of one DeBrusk goal in particular where Pettersson does all the work and kind of slides it cross crease to DeBrusk, goes the easy tap. But I mean, look at all the goals that Jake DeBrusk has scored. I mean, kudos to him for having the finishing ability, but his teammates are getting him the puck, and namely, that's Elias Pettersson getting him the puck right now.
100%.
I mean, I think the two of those are tied together, right? The fact that DeBrusk has 11 goals in the month of November, Pettersson had 13 assists in his last 12 games. A lot of that is him assisting on Jake DeBrusk goals, obviously. Again, it's just
100%, man. Like, again, I'm just daydreaming right now, thinking about Elias Pettersson, and you want to talk about him doing the work and getting DeBrusk, more opportunities in and around the net. Like, look no further than that goal against the Minnesota Wild that DeBrusk scored at Pettersson in front of the net, battling for a loose puck just to chip it on net. And who's there to pick up the rebound? It's Jake DeBrusque. Now, Trevor, you're a nerd. You're a hockey nerd. You've been talking about it for a very long too. Again, whoever's watching this right now, you're watching Locked On effing Canucks. We've been saying things. We've been firing on all cylinders. We watching these games closely. And Trevor Beggs for months and months and months was demanding that Miller and Pettersson get split up on the power play. Let's separate the units. Now, for unfortunate reasons, we kind of saw that. Right? That for obvious reasons, they're not on the same power play unit. And what's been happening to the power play? There's been more goals. So specifically speaking, like what have you seen with Pettersson and Hughes on the power play this time around with it looking different without Miller?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is, Miller very much seems like the quarterback on power play one, and the guy's been good at it for a long time. But that being said, it hasn't really worked in Vancouver for about a year now. The thing I've noticed most with JT Miller off of the power play is that it seems like Quinn and Petey are kind of quarterbacking together. Like, Quinn always dominates the puck, but it does seem like the two of them are finding each other. And then, between the two of them, they're finding the passing lanes and getting finding guys open. So I've liked that dynamic. I mean, I think Quinn Hughes, just based on who he is, how much he plays, like you could probably throw him on a unit 1 and a unit 2, especially with Hronek out of the lineup right now. But again, maybe there's something to be said about that when JT comes back. And we'll get to some JT Miller news and notes on the other side here, because there have been some recent reports that we'll touch on here on the other side regarding Miller and a couple other things regarding your Vancouver Canucks. But power play wise, I would expect them to be put back together, but I'm still all for separating them and making them compete.
Or just having a different philosophy, because you can say for, we're approaching 2025. When January comes around, let's say the power play still, I guess the power play is like top 15 in the league right now. All that being said, you could have the argument that collective that's led by Miller, Hughes, and Pettersson have been middling and mediocre and horrible for like 12 months, right? And maybe, again, them looking at this data allows them to change, to adapt, and ultimately have Miller give Pettersson way more responsibility on the power play. And you want to talk about confidence and feeling himself and just slowly creeping back into form. Maybe it's easier for Pettersson to do that when he has the puck more on his stick. And again, I'm not trying to forget how Pettersson looked like when the puck was on his stick early on in the season. Like, he did have it quite a bit. He was just effing up a lot. Like, he was looking like Niels Höglander is right now. But right now, and who knows, maybe JT Miller's coming back soon. I think it would be in this team's best interest to just keep feeding Pettersson the puck, because getting him back into full mojo, full swagger, you know what I'm saying? And I'll always touch on this too. Even last year, I think the whole contract thing weighed on him the whole way through. And even when he was picking up points early on, I think there was only January where he looked really dominant. So it's been a large stretch of time where we've seen gaps, where we haven't seen the best version of Pettersson. And I just cannot wait to see, again, a confident, swaggy alien also tag team with JT Miller down the middle for a crazy 1-2 punch. Both these players play the game different than like the McDavid and Draisaitl's, or like a lot of other 1-2 punches. Like, they're just different. And then you coincide that with Quinn Hughes, and you're like, okay, now we get to see the true version of the Vancouver Canucks and the whole Demko thing and whatnot, or Lankin, and they're getting invested in like goaltending regardless, whoever's in net. Again, we can just touch base with the ceiling of this team, which I feel as if it's been missing. Trevor, through 23, 24 games, and rightfully so, the Canucks haven't looked like contenders. Like, they're looking more like a wild card team. Let's be honest and let's be real. Due in large part to, again, injuries and missing pieces, but I think that's also due in large part to seeing those three things line up in order, and that's Hughes, Pettersson, and Miller being at the top of their games.
Yeah, and again, the Canucks are going to need that if they want to compete for the Stanley Cup, and we haven't really seen it, especially for a long stretch this season. Let's hope we see it as we get into the stretch drive here again. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. We'll be back on the other side with some news and notes on roster moves, JT Miller, all that good stuff after we shout out our friends over at FanDuel. You know the deal, baby. It's time to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, go check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Now, man, oh man, Kyle's Green Bay Packers, they got a tough one tonight, buddy, against the Detroit Lions, but they're only 3.5 3.5 point underdogs on the spread there. A 152 on the money line. Okay, man. Oh man, maybe the Packers can do something for you. If you're betting on the Packers,
okay, Trevor. All I want is effort, baby. All I want is effort. You know, it's a Thursday night. They've won 7 of the last 8 games. We're playing a division rival. This rival kicked their ass at Lambeau Field a couple weeks ago, and it's not about wins or losses for me. You know that's the deal with me, Trevor. Right? Like, I want to see progress. I want to see effort, and if they try hard today, I'll be impressed. They're playing a good football team, and I don't know about you, but I'm from America. I've seen the game of football my whole life. Okay, I just want to see effort tonight.
A for effort. You know what they say. Again, the bar's been lowered when you cheer for the Vancouver Canucks. Don't lower the bar when you go on FanDuel. Again, you'll get started with $100 and $50 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunt to make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name's Kyle Bhawan. That right there is Trevor Beggs. We just smoked that Pettersson pack, man, right to the dome. Rolled it in a blunt, and we smoked it because, hey, we high off Pettersson right now. We're not flying to space right now. We're not living with them on planet Namek right now. I think that's a Dragon Ball Z reference, if I'm correct. But we're seeing strides. We're seeing what we want to see, and I'm so excited to see what the rest of December brings for him. Straight up. Like, I think the best is yet to come, and we kind of need it on this homestand, man. Right? Like, it's all good right now. 4-1-1 on the road trip. Now we're back home. We've sucked at home. Vancouver sucks for the Vancouver Canucks. That's kind of been the theme all season long. And I feel like this team kind of has to forget about the 6-game road trip that they had success on. Like, they gotta take these games super, super seriously at home ice.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly hard to fathom how, the difference between the home and away so far for the Vancouver Canucks. And again, for those keeping track, they are 10-2-1 on the road and 3-5-3, 3 wins in 11 home games at Rogers Arena. Maybe it's time for us to go on Gametime and get some last minute tickets for tomorrow. Maybe we're the good luck charm.
Dude, okay, tomorrow I'm down. If you got time, who knows? We'll figure it out. Even if we don't get to the game, let's go to the sports bar. Let's have a couple brews and put some good voodoo in the air. Like, I want Rogers Arena being a scary place to play in, especially in December. Trevor, you know the deal, Trevor. Okay, you know a lot of kids out there, because I was a kid like that as well. Early Christmas gifts, I was super blessed. Once in a while, it's that December Christmas game, right? Early Christmas gift. Here you go, son. Let's go to the Canuck game. Like, you're going to see a lot of that. A lot of Christmas presents are going to be Canucks tickets. And I just want those people who are so happy to have that as a gift be represented well in the moment. And I want the Canucks to, again, just take these home games super, super seriously. They've been sleeping so much at home. It's so random. So random. Speaking of sleeping, though, I got to read this comment. I know we're all over the place, but hey, Locked On Canucks. Look at this right here, man. Jim Benning was fired 3 years ago today. Happy anniversary, boys. Come on, man. Come on. This is, bro. Thank you, James Moore, for letting us know this, for reminding us. And Trevor, man, 3 years ago, I'm 28 years old, 29 years old. Again, I don't know the math, but I feel like I looked older 3 years ago, and that's mainly because Jim Benning was our GM. Well, what a time to be alive, and I'm super grateful for Albina Rutherford right now, straight up.
Man, I don't know if the YouTube host can send a super chat to commenters, but man, oh man, that's one of the best comments ever right there from James Moore. I mean, I'm surprised I forgot about it, man. What a magical day! I mean, I covered my first game at Rogers Arena then on December 4th of 2021, the last day of the Jim Benning, Travis Green regime, and yeah, like you said, my life has just improved immensely over the past 3 years because Jim Benning is the GM of my Vancouver Canucks.
You look younger too, man. Trevor Beggs, you just seen this guy 3 years ago. Ugly, really ugly, man. Hey, honest person, man. It is what it is, but I'm blaming Benning. Anyways, speaking of improving your life, Thatcher Demko, one of 2 goalies on the ice today at practice, right? No Shelovs. Again, Demko, Lankinen. I don't know if that means Demko's going to dress tomorrow, be the backup. I don't even know if this guy can sit down for 3 hours. We don't know anything about the Papatias, all right? The Pepelitis. All right, we don't know. It is what it is. We also got news that Jason Krog and JT Miller, they've been skating on their own, so he's back on the ice. Not at practice, but back on the ice nonetheless. How do you feel about all this news? And also, Lecker Mackey being called up, Hronik on LTIR. Like, there's so much going on right now. So
Yeah.
Go through it, Trevor. Go through your Canucks diary right now.
Well, I think the biggest story is JT Miller being back on the ice, and again, no one really knows what's going on, but usually when you see a guy leave the team for personal reasons, he tends to be gone for a while. And the fact that JT Miller, according to Rick Dollywall, is going to resume skating this week and is skating, like you said, Kyle, sounds like he's going to be back in the lineup pretty soon. It might not be tomorrow night against the BJs, but you think that maybe he's back to play his former team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, on Sunday. Like it could even be that soon for JT Miller, which would be a huge improvement for the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, look, for them to go 4-1-1, I guess you could call it, with JT Miller out of the lineup is a pretty incredible thing. But they could definitely use him in this lineup right now, right? I mean, you just, the fourth line right now at practice is Max Sasson, Arshdeep Bains, and Atu Ratu. It's you want to shoot higher for sure. I mean, those guys they're intriguing young players, but this team could use their 103-point player back in the lineup.
Did you say Arshdeep Bains? Was that practice?
Did I say Arshdeep Bains? I think I'm Nils Höglander.
No, yeah, and I'm actually seeing these as the practice lines right now.
Okay.
The fourth line was Sasson, Ratu, and Heinen.
Gotcha.
Okay. And Lekermaki's the extra. It's okay, Trevor. Maybe your internet didn't refresh. Maybe you just paid the bill. It's again, Christmas, you're saving money, moving things around. I've been there. Okay, Trevor. Forbert's also back as well. He's skating. Hughes is not on the ice today, maintenance day. A lot going on, a lot of moving parts. But again, you just completely brushed over the Demko part of it, right? And Demko just told Brendan Batchelor that he could have a discussion with Rick Tocchet about either being the backup or playing within the next 3 games, including the one tomorrow. So who knows? But I'm going to ask you the question, Trevor, like, why did you just brush off the Demko thing? Is it because of the goaltending Lankinen's given us? Or is it like, again, the obvious that Miller allows us to reach our ceilings sooner because we kind of need to see our forward group take shape? Like, again, like, do you not miss Demko as much as some people do?
No, I think the reason I brushed over it a bit because the JT Miller returning to me was the bigger surprise. I think with Demko, we heard 2 weeks ago that he could play on this road trip, and really the main reason that he didn't play on this road trip was just the lack of practice time. But now that they're back at Rogers Arena, I would have been probably more surprised if he wasn't practicing. But still a good development that he's one of only 2 goalies at practice and could serve as the backup tomorrow night. I think with Demko, I'm just so much in wait and see mode. I mean, this guy again has played 3 games since February, right? We're talking about a 10-month span where he's played 3 NHL games. And 2 were kind of clean up in the end of the regular season when the games didn't really matter. So, I mean, look, he's got the sauce. He's one of the best goalies in the world, but it's a different beast to be thrown into the regular season action when you've been out for this long.
Well, again, I hear some of that doubt from your voice, or just some boredom, or you say it's wait and see. But again, like, I'm trying to get a grip of like how much of the fan base actually thinks this Demko experiment is gonna be a grand slam, aka Demko's gonna be the same player. And I guess I'll put you on the spot. Like, are you scared of that being not the case? Are you like 51% certain that Demko's not going to be the same?
No, I wouldn't say that. I honestly have no idea. I mean, I like to think that the guy is, we know he's a hockey nerd. We know he's a nerd in terms of taking care of his body. I expect him to be more or less the same guy, but I think there's going to be an adjustment period for sure. And the fact that the Canucks have Kevin Lankinen right now, who's performed above expectations and then some, I think there's less stress about getting Thatcher Demko back in the lineup. Like, they don't need Thatcher Demko to come in and save the team. They need him to get back to those old ways if they want to go on a long cup run, but they don't need this guy to come in and be the savior of the team in December and January here.
Yeah, they don't. And again, one love to Kevin Lankinen. I talked about this yesterday. If you want to check out that episode, it was me declaring that I'll be American in a couple of months. It is what it is. I was talking about the what's this called? The World Hockey Tournament Tour. What's it called again? The Four Nations Cup. Okay, that thing. Okay. And I was like, wow, what are the chances that the Canucks, they have a goalie representing them in this tournament involving 4 countries. I mean, if you put a bet on FanDuel early on in the season, on that bet, you would have won like $1 if you bet 10, because it's obvious, right? Thatcher Demko. But there we are with no Thatcher Demko at this tournament, but Kevin Lankinen's there. What a crazy story.
Yeah. I didn't really even think about that, but Thatcher Demko would have been there for sure if it wasn't for the injury, right? Like, I mean, it's interesting, right? Hellebuck and Ottinger are the two leaders in the league right now in terms of wins. Both have played phenomenally well, especially Hellebuyck. So Hellebuyck's the starter no matter what. But I think Demko would have been the backup to Ottinger, and
Wow.
Ottinger the third stringer, if he was kind of at a similar form to last season or was still playing. I mean, Swayman's just been a bit of a, he's picked up a little bit recently, but not the same player that he was last season. So that's all right. Like
Yeah.
Demko can get the rest, and he can get ready for what really matters. That's a long cup run, and then the Olympics in 2026, baby. Kyle, let's wrap up the show here. Cut to a quick break. No ad read from me. Just got to sit back, relax, scratch the sack. I'll tell you why I'm a little bit surprised about the Jonathan Leckerback recall on the other side here. Again, you listen to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Mound, Trevor Beggs. One love to you and you for watching us on YouTube Live. Hey, on the podcast side too, man. We appreciate you as well. Listening to us, we blessed, man. We live in the dream, okay? The closer and closer we get to January of 2025, the more and more I got to say, just super, super grateful to have this opportunity with Beggsy to talk to the people about the Vancouver Canucks. I'm super proud of the work we've done. I'm just super proud of the loyalty we've shown, man. Straight up. Trevor Beggs, okay? Daily Hive, reporter, got a family. This guy could sell his soul to be a full-time media member, like really dive into that lane in life. But what is he doing? He's Canucks first. He's not here for the clicks. He's not here for the stories, man. He's loyal to the blue and green. He's loyal to the JT Miller. Yes, the JT Miller. And I'm so excited for him to come back. And I feel like he's going to come back with even more FU energy based on what's happened over the last couple of weeks. Straight up. Like, I hope he's better, and I hope he's 100% and everything's good. Sending him love and energy. But again, I think there's going to be even more FU in that guy's game when he returns. And I don't know how much time he'll play with Leckermacky. Like, who knows what this Leckermacky experiment is? But again, it wasn't too long ago when Miller fed Leckermacky and was doing all that, and Leckermacky scored a goal. Like, what a crazy season so far. All in all, though, FU JT Miller in a good, Mr. FU, not FU JT Miller. I mean, like,
clip that.
All I'll say is I can't wait for him to come back, man.
FU JT Miller, unbelievable, Kyle. You're the biggest JT Miller fan. What's going on here? Again, looking forward to see the guy back soon. Again, I'm surprised that we've seen Leckermacky back at this point of the season, though. So Jonathan Leckermacky will do let's look back quickly. He sent back down to the AHL prior to the road trip that the Vancouver Canucks went on. He's played 5 games for the Abbotsford Canucks since then. In those 5 games, he has 1 goal, and that's his only point in those 5 games. And the last couple of games, he was a -4 combined. So I've just watched the highlights from those games. I haven't dug deep into them, but this certainly isn't a player that went back down to Abbotsford and really looked like he was showcasing his skills. He looks like he's actually maybe took a bit of a back seat compared to how successful he was early on in the season.
No, 100%. I just think that I just think the Canucks are trying to support him, maybe show them that they have his back. Maybe they don't want this slump going to 6 games in the AHL. They want to bring him up, give him some guidance, give him that confidence boost. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's that. Maybe it's this holiday check, right? Let's get you a pro ready to check here. I don't know, but I think it's more of a sign of support. Or what it could be is this. I think it's Kurt Richardson saying Leckermacky only fits with a healthy Miller and best way to shelter him. His call-up tells me that JT Miller is playing really soon. Again, Kurt Richardson doing the assume and putting the dots together, but maybe they want to see that. Again, yes, the Vancouver Canucks are 4-1-1 in the last 6 games, and they really finished the road trip strong with strong effort and whatnot, but they played some middling teams outside of Minnesota during that little 3 or 4 game run that they had, right? They still need a lot of top end talent, or they need a change in pace within their offensive flow throughout their lineup. It can't just be Pettersson driving and this and that. We haven't seen even though Suter's been playing well, it's not 5-on-5 Garland, Joshua, and Suter have been dominating, right? Definitely not the case with Bluger and company too. They need some more flow offensively. And I wonder if, again, you're seeing Leckermacky struggle in the AHL after dominating the AHL early on, and you're just trying to give him a vote of confidence and let him know that he's still that guy. He's got that swagger, and here's another chance. Possibly playing in the top 6, who knows? Right now, he's the extra skater at practice, but I think Kurt Richardson may be onto something.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that being the case. I mean, the flip side to that is he's the extra forward at practice, and JT Miller's not there. So what happens when JT Miller comes back, right? So I also wonder too. The Abbotsford Canucks don't play again until December the 7th on Saturday. So I wonder if they're just getting Lecker up for a couple of practices. I mean, this is the benefit of having your AHL team in Abbotsford is that you just got to go through that brutal Highway 1 stretch, man.
I like that though. I like that Matthew doing right there. I like that Matthew doing right now, right? Like maybe it's not that deep and he's not in the lineup, but again, here's an organization that is in love with the player. They want to do what's best with the player. He's struggling right now. Let's just call him up and be around him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Hit that Yaletown life after the practice. Like, you're that dog. You got that swag. Don't let this 5-game slump go into like 6 or 7 or 8 games. Like, you know, like there's dead time in the AHL right now. Not a game till Saturday. Let's just have him around hockey and the pros and being a Vancouver Canuck. And I guess again, I haven't looked too deep into like this type of managerial mechanism, but I kind of like this stuff, man. Like the way they're capitalizing on that AHL team being up the street it's like what's the word, top notch or just like efficient. It's like professional, you know what I'm saying? Like they're really squeezing everything they can get out of it, you know, for a better success for the Canucks, but also just for their individual players.
Man, oh man! I mean, I'm just thinking about the past 3 years and how far this team has come since Jim Benning was fired. Man, it's been over 1,000 days since Jim Benning was general manager of the Vancouver Canucks. Man, just I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Damn,
oh
bro.
Man, that was one of the best days in Vancouver Canucks history. The day Jim Benning, his ass was canned. Hopefully the Benning family's doing well. Where was I going with this?
His ass was canned.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can say that on YouTube anymore, man. Honestly, it's 2025.
Thanks.
I don't know if you've gone to page 18 of cornwhatever.com. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to can up that, you know?
Whoa.
You just don't want, I'm telling you, that's all I'm saying, Trevor. You got to watch your language. It's the holidays. Speaking of which, hit the like button, okay? You know why you got to hit the like button too? Again, we had JT's back the whole way through. Locked on Canucks. Like, did all these other programs have his back like us? I don't think so. We're supporting the player, not the story, not the algorithm, not the SEO. We don't give an ish. But we also supported Pettersson the whole way through. Did we challenge him? Yes, we did. Did we say he was playing like ass? Yes, we did. But did we believe that this guy's one of the best players in the league? Hell yes. That being said, I do want to do an episode later next week about like, the nature for Pettersson trade that never happened, because it's just like fascinating, like the parallels between those two players and again, what we're seeing for nature. Like, I would just love to, I'd love to read the book about how that deal didn't happen in the contract after. Like, again, I think Pettersson's a better player, but it's just so fascinating. Like, don't forget that happened.
Yeah, that'll be a good topic for another day too. Again, Nature's absolutely turning up this season after really being hot and cold for a few seasons in Carolina. One last thing we didn't mention though is along with Jonathan Lecker-Mack, if you recall, Cole McWard also gets recalled to the Vancouver Canucks. I actually think he might have a better chance to play than Lecker-Mack over the next few games here, but it sounds like he was called it for a couple of reasons. One, Quinn Hughes made him stay at practice. But second, I think they also want to reward this guy. I mean, Lecker-Mack, he's had a so-so last 5 games, but you want to get him up and around the NHL team. Cole McWard has been one of the best defensemen for the Abbotsford Canucks so far this season. Not putting up the big points. He got 1 goal, 6 points in 21 games, but defensively, the guy's been a rock from everything I've watched, everything I've read down there from Abbotsford. So makes sense to reward Cole McWard. And again, if you're Cole McWard and you're looking at the right side of this defense, you're thinking, so you're saying there's a chance.
Damn, the NHL check, man. I'm telling you, Cole McWard's like, yo, if I stick around for like the next 3 weeks, everyone in my family is getting great Christmas gifts, you know? Straight up, do the math. I like it, man. Like the Canucks, man, running the organization like pros. Again, 3 years ago, Jim Benning got fired and everything changed. If Jim Benning wasn't fired, I would already be bald right now. I would not have a chance. On that note, subscribe, hit the like button so I can get a hair transplant by 2035, okay? Trevor Beggs, sign us out.
Hey, shout out to the everydayers, the occasional listeners, the first-time listeners, the new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live show on YouTube. Shout out to Blake Creamer, Creams and Dreams as well, popping up in the chat. Go check out his work over at Apples and Geno's. Man, oh man, that fancy hockey guide. Save my bacon, man. Unbelievable. I'm starting to win my league because of Blake Creamer. Coming up on Locked On Canucks. Again, no games till Friday, but we will be back tomorrow talking about everything regarding your Vancouver Canucks, whatever's on our mind about this amazing hockey team that we all know and love. And Kyle, maybe you and I even meeting up in the flesh tomorrow as well. Who knows? We'll record and document that all here on Locked On Canucks. Again, if you like what we're doing, subscribe and like this video on YouTube. Follow and leave a 5-star review on the podcast side. We're selling shirts not associated with Locked On. Link for that in the bio. Again, I'm getting my kids the F the Oilers shirts for Christmas, man. And I don't care what anyone says about it. There we go. For now, we got to get out of here. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowden, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.